Well, hello, and welcome to Two Yells Make a Red. Just the two of us today. Alistair and Ryan are preoccupied, so today's video we're just going to recap the most recent football events, which were the two European finals. So we had the Man United versus Villareal game on Wednesday, and then we had the dismal Chelsea versus Man City on Saturday. So straight into it, Man United versus Villareal. Scott, did you watch the game?
Yep, I watched the full 120 minutes and then also the ridiculous penalty shootout as well.
45-minute penalty shooting. Yep.
I kind of expected that the game to go like that, but I was just, part of me was hoping it wouldn't go like that. I just knew that if Villareal score first, this final is going to be boring.
Yeah.
Because Unai Emery is just going to make sure that it finishes 1-0. But United were, if they had scored first, I could have seen Man United winning this very comfortably because then Villareal need to come out. But the fact that Villareal got their goal, yeah, it kind of, and they just went, no, sit back, basically 10 behind the ball, and then just went, right, try and break us down. Eventually they did, but yeah, it wasn't great to watch.
That's the we'll go into the Chelsea game as well, but that's the biggest complaint for me when it comes to European finals, is that most teams will score a goal and then just sit in the lead, especially if you're an underdog. So obviously Villarreal were probably the underdogs in that game, given the statures of the league. And you're right, that's what they did. They scored the goal from a brilliant free kick, actually. And then, as you say, just after that, 10 men behind the ball, counter-attacking football when they got the chance. It was just on Man United. They obviously got their goal through Cavani, who is still scoring goals at the age that he is, which is magnificent. Harry Kane, who, am I right? But it made for a very boring final. And then obviously 1-1 goes to extra time, and I actually turned off for extra time. I didn't watch
there was not much happened in extra time. I wish they just went straight to the penalty shootout, which was the most entertaining bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about top class penalties, they were superb.
I can think of one United penalty that the Villareal keeper really probably would have wanted back because he got a good hand to Luke Shaw's.
There was two actually. I can't remember who the other one. But
it was still in the corner. So you would have said it would have been hard luck on Shaw, but a great save. But at the same time, it was still a decent penalty. So, I just had a feeling when De Gea stepped up, he was missing. It was just something that he's going to miss.
You said it was a record penalty shootout in a European final.
I wouldn't be surprised. It was 11-10, so it wouldn't be a shock.
But as it kept going, you felt the intensity getting higher and higher.
You get to sudden death, and it's literally one miss and you're out. So it's finished. But
cheers, Jeff.
I have to say though, I can't remember because I don't think I seen it on. Like I was obviously watching it on Dutch television, but did they announce who the man of the match was for the game?
Probably, but
if it wasn't Scott McTominay, I want to know who the hell it was because he was outstanding in midfield.
Yeah, actually, I should probably have looked it up.
He ran the show in the first half and for most of the second half as well, but he was everywhere, flying into challenges, breaking up play, and just setting United to go again, giving it to Pogba. Fernandes, but he was everywhere. I thought it was one of the best games I've seen McTominay have in a long time.
Another player that I thought had a really terrible game actually was Fernandes. Just didn't show up at all.
I don't think he was terrible. He wasn't great. I think he just had an average game and just didn't really turn up. Pogba tried. You could see he was trying stuff, but yeah, I think Villareal just in the end. I'm not even sure they just did enough to win it. They really frustrated me as I've got no teams in this final, but I still was just wanting a better game. And that's why I wanted United to score first, because I'm sure I said to you guys before the kickoff, I said I could see United scoring a few here if they score first. Because United just, when they get that knack, they actually are good going forward.
Yeah.
But
I'll agree with that. So yeah, you're right. As soon as Villareal scored, you knew it was going to be a bit of a stalemate. And it ended up. So, Ollie, what's our takes on Ollie? Do you think he is a man? So, I mean, we've been debating this for years since he's joined, obviously, whether he was the right man for the job. But certainly after that final performance, do we feel he's still the right man for the job, or is there something lacking?
I think he's doing okay, but Man United fans, it's another season where they've not won anything.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling that this could be his last season if they do not win anything. Even if they get to 2 finals, that's not good enough for Manchester United. They need to be winning trophies, and you see it all the time with pundit like Gary Neville. You can see them getting frustrated every final that they're in, because they're so close to getting there, but there's just that one something every final that they're missing. And this time, it might have been that Fernandes wasn't on his game to break down the Villareal defence, but I just think that they were slack just ever so slightly at the back in that final. And I mean, I'm not a fan of Eric Bailly. I'm not saying it wasn't his fault for the goal, but I don't think you're going into a European final and likely to win with somebody like him at the back.
And I hate to say it because I'm really not a fan of him, but they did miss Maguire. As much of a
you could see him coaching for when he was warming up at the sidelines, just trying to encourage him. But I suppose that's what a leader and a captain's meant to do. So.
It reminded me of Ronaldo at the
the Euros.
Yes, I remember when he was coaching the one. He was.
We're going to go on to the game, but I thought Thiago Silva was going to start doing the same for Chelsea. It's
getting old money. So yeah, Man United game done. Not much more to be said. I would agree with the comments about the man that they call Ollie. I agree with those comments. Ollie at the wheel. I think the only saving grace from this season is he finished second. Anything below second, then questions might have been asked. But the fact that he finished second quite comfortably under a City side that we're always going to dominate the league, as they usually do, unless it's Liverpool. So moving on to another boring final. So the Chelsea game, most recent one in my mind. I actually enjoyed the first half more than the second half because the second half was just Chelsea defending.
I agree.
City possession. But again, Chelsea played fantastically well, which surprised a lot of people, including myself, given that if we're going purely by form, they got beat by Villa on the last day of the season. And I know they've also had a break by that, but for me, as a spectator, I'm always thinking to the last game, and getting beat by Villa is not great. But they played brilliant. I have to take my hat off to them. The Werner meme show continues as well. Just don't know what it is. I mean, the guy scored goals for fun at Leipzig, and he comes here and if he's not offside, he's trying to do 5-star skills up the sideline. And it's like, So he's not a striker in my books, because strikers score goals. He's a better looking Ollie McBurney at this stage. No, it's harsh actually. I mean, at least Werner gets shots on target. So you're taking the first half of the Chelsea game?
Yeah, I agree with your point that it was the first half. I thought was a lot better than the second half. Second half just petered out really. I think City got to 80 minutes and just realised we're not actually going to score here.
No. And
just the last 10 minutes were even worse. But although City had one chance, like with 3 minutes to go, where it just went over the bar. Yeah. It was the deflection. I can't remember who hit it, but it was a deflected.
The boys Foden. Yeah, I'm sure.
The deflected shot, and you could just see Mendy just looking because he had no chance, and you were just like, "Oh, is this going in?" Yeah. But other than that, City didn't create much, and City were very
They were dominant.
Yeah,
They were dominant at the ball, but
they were underwhelming actually.
he played. This false nine thing doesn't work for me. Yeah, you've not got a recognised striker. It's
I
just
know, but at the same time, they've done it in the Prem and they've done it against
no.
big teams as well, and they've played well with it. So I
The
mean, they beat
biggest,
PSG with it, and
aye.
PSG were meant to be the team that were possibly going to win it this year.
I suppose the
So
biggest criticism from me from Pep is he changed all his tactics in the last game, and he's done it many a final. He did it against Bayern Munich. He's done it against PSG. I'm sure they played PSG at some point. Just going off my top of my head, but he played with a completely attacking setup, and there was no defensive-minded midfielders in there. So there was no Fernandinho, no Rodri. Both players that have started or played together. Or played alongside De Bruyne most of the Premier League. So to change that system completely baffles me, and that's why I lost the game ultimately because he didn't. They couldn't keep up with the
I think he was worried that Chelsea might have sat in, and he was more worried about right. Let's try and get more of our creative players on the ball to cause them problems. But at the same time, if you sacrifice bringing a Gundogan or a Bernardo Silva into the lineup for a Rodri or a Fernandinho, you are just opening yourself to guys like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz to have more time on the ball and cause more problems. And I mean, Werner is getting dealt with the centre backs anyway, if he's not missing chances. But I just think Chelsea. I still don't even know if they did enough to win the game. Like they created a few chances in the first half, but
they kind of.
Werner had, I think, 3 chances that I can think of.
He could have had a hat trick in the first 20 minutes.
But at the same time, they weren't sitters or anything, but I still thought they were actually closer to half chances than actually a full chance. But
there were a chance at the least where City are usually good at defending, keeping possession and not having that happen. I mean, Sterling, there was one point Sterling was right into the box and he could have chipped it over to Mahrez or done something, but kicked it out for a corner and obviously had the corner, but that was only one of the few attacks I can remember City actually having. It was more just possession in the final third, and then Chelsea just defended for their life. And I don't blame them, especially when you're 1-0 up to the Premier League champions.
Yeah.
I don't. If you'd said to me at the start of the season Chelsea are going to win the Champions League, I would have got you drug tested because it just wouldn't have been.
Well, no, you would be right with that because they had Frank Lampard in charge at the time, and they weren't going to win the Champions League with him. I mean, Tuchel is just got his own style of play and just drilled it into this lot. And to be fair, I am surprised at how quickly he's managed to get everybody on board with this, the way he plays.
6 months.
Which is kind of like a high press, but you're also kind of it depends who they're playing. If they're playing a Man City, it's a high press, but also they're quick to come back to sit in.
Yeah. Like
Werner's been asked pretty much for like 15 seconds, go and buzz about and see if you can nick the ball off of somebody. If you can't, right back and help out the midfield and trying to block passages for anybody to thread through balls. But I just think, City, I just expected so much more of them, and I think a lot of folk did, but I just think they needed to. Guys like Mahrez and that, they've had great seasons, but they just never turned up. No. De Bruyne, I feel sorry for him because he had to go off, obviously, and you could see he was pretty much greeting because he was. I mean, Thiago Silva was doing the same, but it clearly shows how much it means that they were wanting to be on the pitch.
It's always tricky to cry out one eye though, given he broke his eye socket. But
as you said, you mentioned it briefly, and I did see that I think Belgium were to announce in 5 days if he's going to play or not. So it'll be. I think you'll see bookies odds slashing. Going up with Belgium if De Bruyne is not going because he's going to. I know they've got likes of Hazard and Lukaku and Mertens, but they're still going to. They're going to not have their main man.
That's the other thing they were saying is Hazard is supposedly not fit either. I didn't know that, but he's still
Why
injured.
Belgium not in our group?
Axel Witsel's injured.
He's been injured for ages, though.
But he was another one that really holds the midfield for them.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to go down to TMO.
That's Tielemans, by the
way. Tielemans. So yeah, you're absolutely spot on. I think the odds for Belgium will definitely skyrocket. Coming back to the game, when I was talking about cards there, I thought the referee was brilliant. I've always really liked Wahos, but he's fantastic. He just controlled the game so well, and
So I thought he was quite funny sometimes because he almost overreacts with some of his like actions. Just when he's telling somebody no, don't speak back to me. It's the full armour. No.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't watch him week in week out in Spain, but seeing his own language, I've just got a feeling he's even more hyped up.
100%. Like there was a handball incident, and he was doing this.
I was just like
10 minutes after. Just kept going,
I was just like, right, we can you like UEFA, but come on.
Oh, it was brilliant. I loved him. And I think the highlight of me for that was the booking of Rudiger. He held him up, and he was helping him up. He was dishing at the yellow card. Like, that's just referee.
I always think it's quite funny when a player is down on the ground, and whether he knows it or not, because he's either injured or whatever, but they're going to get booked, and the ref just stands there waiting. He's just like, all right, he's up now.
I mean, usually that's what they would do. They wait till he gets something himself, but it's the fact they helped him up, and as he's helped him up, he stands in the yellow card, and then Rudiger gets up looking confused. Probably because he's half concussed, but it's wonderful.
And he's already got a mask on.
That was brilliant. So yeah, referee had an absolute cracking game, and Alistair made a comment to me about the fact that he brings a lot of humanity to the game. So there was one incident where I forget who it was, but somebody went down injured, and he blew the whistle straight away and brought people on as if to say, hurry up, this is urgent. But it's that sort of like take away the game aspect. It's a pure, it's showing that there is humanity to refereeing. So brilliant, really, really good. So that was good. That was one of the highlights of the game for me. Frank Lampard, are you giving him credit? Okay, I'll start it. I am. They got them at the group stages, so I feel you have to give them some form of credit for that.
Yeah, I suppose so. I just think it was just the fact that Chelsea, you still weren't thinking that they were going to do it at the group stage, and then just Tuchel managed to. I know they played a weak or a poor Real Madrid team, and they played Porto, who they're expected to beat.
Yeah.
But and who was the other team that they knocked out in the knockouts? I can't remember, but I don't think they came up against what Man City did, like a PSG. They never came up against somebody that I thought, right, this is where Chelsea are going out. Like, under Tuchel, just with how well drilled they had them, I just thought, well, they're never going to break them down, so Chelsea will go through this. And I still seen folks saying, Real Madrid will beat Chelsea. I was like, Real Madrid aren't good this season. I don't know if everyone's still living off the Real Madrid a few seasons ago, but they're nowhere near it. And that La Liga has actually just been a poor league this year. I mean, I was shocked when somebody told me that Villareal finished 7th or 8th in that league, and I was like, what? Really?
Seventh in that league, yeah.
And I was just like, good God. If they're finishing 7th and 8th and they're getting to a final, but Unai Emery lives for the Europa League, but he's won it 5 times now?
Aye, something like that. Yeah, they're giving him a lot of credit for it. It says competition, they were saying. They should just name it the
Unai Emery Cup.
But again, I think he's a very underrated manager. I mean, he didn't have that bad a turn at
I think it was just anybody that went in after Wenger, it was going to be a tough job. The fact that he had to change so much in the club. And I just didn't. He was just not given enough time. I don't think.
Definitely not.
And whereas Arteta's getting time because he's played for the club.
Yeah,
and
he's the link to Pep as well.
I suppose it gets bandied around a lot, the word legend, but I'm not sure if he's a club legend, but he's highly regarded by the Arsenal fans.
He's in the same bracket for me as like Arshavin. Like Arshavin wasn't necessarily a legend, but he was well known for the club.
Yeah,
he did a lot for the club, you know.
Yeah, Arteta was probably just below sort of like Fabregas level.
Yeah.
So like Fabregas is a legend for Arsenal, I would say, but Arteta's just below that level, and I think that's why he's been given time.
Yeah. That was just a wee quick recap of both finals and how dreadful they were. But congrats to Chelsea, congrats to Villareal. Cannot wait until the UEFA Super Cup. What a great game that's going to be. Just don't think anyone expected it to be that. A lot of people just said, "Oh, it's going to be a United versus someone,
a Manchester
derby, or that." But nah, it's not. What I will say though is the trilogy that people were talking about: Gareth Bale scoring a hat trick, Inter Milan winning the league, and Chelsea winning the Champions League. All happened.
That was pretty freaky.
Happened again, which was pretty scary. So it's good to see somebody else win the Champions League, but. Anyway, I would just have a quick recap. So, any comments on both? Do leave a comment down below. Leave a wee like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.